Dear learners, a very warm welcome to all of you in the MOOCs of Energy Resources and Conversion Processes. I am Dr. Shweta Tripathi, Assistant Professor in Mechanical Engineering, School of Engineering and Technology, Indira Gandhi National Open University, New Delhi. You have learnt in the previous module about hydro energy, the energy that is generated by water. In this module, we are going to discuss tidal energy, energy generated from the tides. The learning outcomes of this module is to understand the concept of tides and tidal energy, to discuss various techniques that are used in conversion process of tidal energy into electricity, to understand the working of various turbines that are used in tidal power generation, and to discuss the advantages and limitations of tidal energy. Tidal power, as the name says, it is a power that is generated from the tides. And these tides are generated from water, so it is also a form of hydropower, and in this the energy of tides is converted into useful form, mainly in electricity generation. This is the only form of energy whose source is the moon. Actually, these tides are caused by the gravitational pull of the moon and sun and the rotation of the earth. Thus, this energy is the utilization of the moon and sun's gravitational forces, as tides are formed by the gravitational pull of moon and sun on the oceans of the rotating earth. If we talk about the basic physics of tides, generally the gravitational pull of sun and moon and the pull of the centrifugal force of rotation of the earth-moon system is the main cause of this tide. There are two high tides and two low tides during each period of rotation of the earth. We call them spring and neap sides, and they depend on the orientation of the sun, moon and the earth. Basically, the high spring tides occur when the sun and moon line up with the earth. This occurs whether they are either on same or opposite side. Whereas the low neap tides occur when the sun and moon line up at 90 degrees to each other, that is, they are perpendicular to each other. Flood currents are the currents that are moving in the direction of the coast, and ebb currents are the currents receding from the coast. When a landmass lines up with the earth-moon system, the water around it is at high tide. And when a landmass is at 90 degrees to the earth-moon system, the water around it is at a low tide side. Three types of tidal plant facilities that we have. One is tidal barrage, the second is tidal current turbines, and third is dynamic tidal power plant. Let us talk about the tidal barrage. In tidal barrage, actually the potential energy is utilized. Generally, the tidal barrages are dams that are built across the entrance to a bay or estuary that capture potential tidal energy similar to tidal lagoons. Energy is collected when the height difference on either side of the dam is greatest at low or high tide. Minimum height fluctuation of 5 meters is thought to be required to justify the construction of the barrage. Only 40 locations worldwide have been identified as feasible, and these are similar to low head hydroelectricity production is achieved by coupling generators to the turbines. The concept is almost similar. The advantages of this technology is that it is a mature technology that has been around for nearly 50 years. It is a reliable energy source, and limitations are the high cost of construction, environmental impacts on marine life, low power output in comparison to the energy source like coal and nuclear plants, And generally these barrages are of two types, single basin system and double basin system. As we know that tidal lagoons are used, water lagoons. Lagoons are comprised of retaining walls that is embedded with reversible low head turbines that enclose a large reservoir. The rise and fall of tides cause a difference in the water height. Suppose this is rise and this is fall, then there is a considerable difference between the water height inside and outside of the reservoir. Then what happens? A pressure differential is there which drives the turbine. The concept is similar to a conventional low head hydroelectric power generating dam that works in both directions. Electricity production is achieved by coupling generators to the turbines, and the concept of these lagoons and barrage is similar. Now let us discuss single basin type and double basin type barrage. If we talk about the single basin type, there is only one basin, and if we talk about the ebb generation, during flood, tide basin is filled and sluice gates are closed, trapping water. Gates are kept closed until the tide has ebbed sufficiently, and thus turbines start spinning and generating the electricity. Then if we talk about the flood generation, what happened? The basin is filled through the turbine which generate at flood tide. Two-way generation sluice gates and turbines are closed until near the end of the flood tide, when water is allowed to flow through the turbines into the basin, creating electricity. At the point where the hydrostatic head is insufficient for power generation, the sluice gates are opened and kept open until high tide, when they are closed. When the tide outside the barrage has dropped sufficiently, water is allowed to flow out of the basin through the turbines, again creating electricity. Then comes the double basin system. In double basin systems, as the name implies, there are two basins, but it operates similar to an ebb generation type single basin system. The only difference is a proportion of the electricity is used to pump water into the second basin and allow it to store. Current sites of tidal barrage are La Rance in France, the first and the second largest tidal barrage power plant, two-way generation system and pumped storage is there. Annapolis tidal generation facility on the Bay of Fundy, Canada. Further development is being considered in Bay of Fundy. Then comes the tidal current turbines. In these turbines, the kinetic energy of moving water is utilized to power turbines, in a similar way to wind turbines that use wind to power turbines. These operate during flood and ebb tides, and it consists of a rotor, gearbox and a generator, and these three parts are mounted onto a support structure. This support structure is of three types: gravity structure, piled structure and floating structure. In gravity structures, generally the massive steel or concrete structures are attached to the base of the units to achieve stability, and this stability is by their own inertia. That's why it is called gravity structure. Then piled structures. Piled structures are generally pinned to the seabed by one or more steel or concrete piles, and the piles are fixed to the seabed by hammering if the ground conditions are sufficiently soft, or by pre-drilling, positioning and grouting if the rock is harder. Then comes the floating structures. It provides a potentially more convincing solution for deep water locations. Then comes the dynamic tidal power plant. Dynamic tidal power plant is a new and untested method of tidal power generation. It would involve creating large dam-like structure which is extending from the coast straight to the ocean with a perpendicular barrier at the far end, forming a large T shape. A single dam can accommodate over 8 gigawatt of installed capacity, and this dynamic tidal power plant is long dam of 30 to 60 kilometers, which is built perpendicular to the coast, running straight onto the ocean without enclosing an area. Other concerns include shipping routes, marine ecology, sediments and storm surges. To limit the application of this dynamic tidal power plant, the tidal energy can be captured efficiently and inexpensively in this plant, and they are using the helical turbine for this purpose. Professor Alexander Gorlov of Northeastern University has invented this helical turbine and perfected it. Historically, it is designed to be an efficiently transfer water up a tube, just like an Archimedes screw, which is a helical surface surrounding a ventral cylindrical shaft, and energy is generated as water flow moves up the spiral and rotates the device. The concept is similar to this Archimedes screw. If the slow rotation implies coupling to a generator through a gearbox to increase the speed, to increase the RPM. If we talk about the features of this helical turbine, it is designed for hydroelectric applications in free flowing water, and it could be operated in ocean, tidal and river currents. It does not require expensive dams that can harm the environment. And if we talk about the features of this helical turbine operation, then it is self-starting with a very low flow of the range 0.6 meter per second. The running is very smooth. It rotates in same direction regardless of the direction of flow, and making it ideal for tidal applications because it doesn't need any dam. Then comes the types of tidal steam generators. Modern tidal power generating turbines operate on the same principle as wind turbines. As the moving water passes the current turbine blades, the current's kinetic energy is converted into mechanical energy, and as the rotating blades spin as a drive shaft. The mechanical energy in the drive shaft is then converted to electrical energy using a generator, often through a gearbox. Since tidal steam generators are an immature technology, no standard technology has yet emerged as the clear winner, but a large variety of designs are being experimented with, some very close to large-scale deployment. These tidal turbines typically operate in restricted passages that limit the height and width of the turbines. Basically, two primary types of turbines that have been developed and have direct analogs with the wind energy are used in the generation of tidal energy, and these are axial turbine and cross flow turbines. Cross flow turbines could be vertical and horizontal axis any of them. If we talk about the axial turbines, these turbines are the most similar to traditional wind turbines, where the kinetic energy of moving water is captured by spinning blades facing the direction of the flow, and the turbine can be open or ducted and placed anywhere in the water column, though bottom mounted is generally used and is more common. And the turbines may use active or passive measures to yaw or wane in the direction of flow. They can have pitching blades also, which allow them to change their hydrodynamic performance based on flow conditions. As for wind turbines, a number of different electrical generation options may be selected for electricity generation, from permanent magnet machine to induction generators directly tied to the grid. These are close in concept to traditional windmills operating under the sea. If we talk about the tidal turbines, then comes the cross flow turbines, vertical and horizontal axis cross flow turbines. These turbines capture kinetic energy of moving water with spinning blades oriented perpendicular to the direction of the flow. They can be mounted in either vertical or horizontal directions. When mounted vertically, these devices can operate regardless of the direction of the flow. Typically, they have cylindrical cross section amenable to placement in confined channels or allowing tight spray spacing. Turbines can be open or ducted and placed anywhere in the water column, and the electricity production mechanism is similar to axial flow turbines. Then comes the reciprocating devices. Although these reciprocating devices do not have rotating blades but instead have one or more hydrofoils that translate perpendicular to the flow direction by lift or drag. They may be oriented horizontally or vertically, though like axial flow turbines must face the direction of flow for maximum energy extraction. Generally, it is the oscillating device, or we can say that oscillating devices are the most common form of reciprocating devices, and they are installed for the generation of tidal energy also. The linear motion of the foils must be converted to rotary motion for electricity generation, or linear generators may be used. Now comes the advantages and limitations of these turbines. They are able to utilize both ebb and flood tides. Tidal current turbines are not need large massive dam structure. Then limitations. The tidal current turbine technology is young in its development, and installation and maintenance is also challenged, and the environmental impacts are still being tested. Then comes the environmental friendliness of these tidal energy or tidal power plant. As tidal energy is used involving dam, and it creates many of same environmental concerns as damming rivers that we have discussed in our hydroelectric power plant module. The tidal dams restrict fish migration and cause slit buildup, which affects tidal basin ecosystem in negative ways. Systems that take advantages of natural narrow channels and high tidal flow rates have less negative environmental impact than dammed system, but they are not without environmental problems. Both systems use turbines that can cause fish kills, but these are being replaced by new, more fish-friendly turbines. The art and science of environmental friendly hydro engineering is well advanced and will certainly be applied to any tidal energy project as well. But even with dams, the environmental impact of tidal energy projects may prove to be smaller than our use of any other energy resource. Economics will severely limit the number of tidal energy projects as it is very costly. If we talk about the economics, the tidal energy is not cost competitive because it is generally not commercially available. When selecting a spot to set up a tidal energy station, it is important to make sure that it will be economically feasible or not. To set up a tidal facility with an average annual output of 1050 megawatt would cost about $1.2 billion, not including maintenance and running costs. This is far more expensive than coal and oil or any other energy source. If we talk about the future prospect of tidal energy, in a society with increasing energy demands, it is becoming more and more important to have alternative sources of power to keep up with the ever-growing energy demand. We could not rely on a single alternative source, or we could not replace the conventional energy sources with a single alternative source. There should be many alternative energy sources. They will supply a little power against the demand that is raised. It will be quite helpful. The capacity of tidal energy exceeds that of coal and oil and is renewable. And the Department of Energy are showing great enthusiasm in regards to tidal power as the perfect energy source for the future as well. If we talk about the tidal plants in India, we don't have that much tidal plants in India, but yes, we have some. If we talk about West Bengal Renewable Energy Development Agency in Sundarbans, they are trying for it. The Indian state of Gujarat is planning to host South Asia's first commercial scale tidal power station, and the company Atlantis Resources is to install a 50 megawatt tidal farm in the Gulf of Kutch on India's west coast. Construction has already started in 2012, and later on it is decided to increase the capacity up to 250 megawatt plants. If we talk about the Kerala, the tidal plant is situated near the breakwaters of Vizhinjam port, which is about 20 km from Thiruvananthapuram city. The station started its commercial operation in 1991. This is on the oscillating water column and it produces about 150 kilowatt of power. Then comes the advantages and limitations of tidal power. Advantages: tidal energy does not require any fuel. The economic life of a tidal plant is about 75 to 100 years as compared to about 35 years of conventional fossil fuel plant. Tidal energy is clean and renewable. Tidal energy is non-polluting. A tidal barrage can prevent approximately 1 million tons of carbon dioxide per TWh generated. If we talk about disadvantages, tidal energy affects the ecosystem. Tidal energy leads to damage like reduced flushing and erosion, which ultimately affects the vegetation of the area and disrupts the balance. The alteration of tidal currents also affects the habitat of the seabirds and the fish. Now let us summarize whatever we have discussed. We have discussed the formation of tides, and we have discussed that tides are caused by the gravitational pull of the sun and moon and the rotation of the earth. Thus, tidal energy is the utilization of moon and sun's gravitational forces, as tides are formed by the gravitational pull of the moon and sun on the oceans of the rotating earth. Near shore, water levels can vary up to 40 feet due to tides. A flood tide is one that is coming in or rising, and an ebb tide is one that is going out. We have also discussed that tidal energy takes advantage of the daily ebb and flow of tides and of localized examples of water in motion. The gravitational pull of the moon drives tidal flows. We have also discussed that how the energy of these tides, which is mainly hydropower, could be utilized in production of electricity. We have discussed that when the tide comes in, water flows through a sluice into a storage pond, and when the tides go back out, the water flows back into the sea by passing through a turbine generating electricity. We have discussed the technologies that are used for conversion of tidal energy, such as tidal barrage, lagoons, turbines, helical turbine, etc. We have discussed the advantages and disadvantages of tidal power and its future prospect as well. Thank you very much.